David. And first of all, I was going to ask about returning internationals this week. And obviously most of them who have been away are available again. Some were rested for the Queen's game. What are your thoughts on putting some of them back into this week?
Yeah, I mean, they're all, obviously Scotland have got their game. But the boys who are back from England, Wales, Italy, they're all open for selection, yeah, and they're absolutely in contention.
And let's go through the injury list. There's a bit of a list. Jack Singleton, Santiago Cecchino, Jason Woodward, Kyle Moyle and Joe Simpson. Any of those likely to be in contention for Friday?
We've had a couple of those out training today. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously a shorter week for us, so we haven't got too much of a training week this week. But we've had them out today and we're just testing a couple of their fitness and see where they're at. Are
any of those specifically likely to be fully fit and ready for Friday?
Oh, I'd never like to give the game away this early in the week. I think it's a nice surprise, I think, at the end of the week.
And just looking at the next 2 weeks, after Exeter comes, of course, the European quarter-final. Lots of supporters seeing that one as the bigger game of the two. Do you look at these two games together when it comes to selection?
No, I mean, obviously we did use last week to get a few bodies rested who've put massive shifts in for us over the season, and the opportunity for some guys who haven't had much rugby to play, and obviously get the young guys on the field. So I think last week was a part of the planned process, if you like, but I think from here on it's a week by week selection, and obviously inviting the champions to Kingsholm is a massive test for us.
Yeah, do you see this Friday as a dry run for La Rochelle in any way?
No, not at all. No, I see it as a Premiership game that we're going out there to try and win.
And looking at Exeter, they've won 10, but they have lost 4. Are there some weaknesses in their play that you've picked up on? Other teams have obviously managed to get wins.
There's not many weaknesses in their play, I've got to say. Obviously they are the champions, well, the double champions. I think I think with Exeter they play a very accurate game. I think you know their strengths. Obviously, when they get in the 22, they're very dangerous with their set piece and their pick and go. But I think their transition play, they've got a very dangerous back three who can strike from anywhere, and they're just very well organised. So I think it's more about how you're going to stop them as opposed to trying to work out what exactly they're going to do.
Yeah, and looking back at the reverse fixture, it was 28-20 on Boxing Day. Where would you say you are as a team now compared to them?
I think we're a long way down the line in terms of the way we play. I think the boys are a real tight group. I think the reality is there's the international boys, as you mentioned earlier, haven't been around much at all. So that's potentially one of the last games we actually saw them. So a few months ago. So there's been a lot of guys had opportunities since that point. There's been a lot of guys I think have put their hands up and also shown what they can do in the future. So. This is the first week we're all back together, but I think as a group we've come a long way since that point.
And what's it been like having the group back together, or most of the group back together again this week?
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, obviously, some of the speed guys, seeing them out there train again is always exciting, and I think there's a good buzz about the place. It's always nice when you've got through that tough part of where the weather certainly gets wet around here anyway, but wet and cold, and the boys they've had some tough games. We've had some tough performances through the last couple of months, and some we've fallen the right side, some we haven't, and it's just an injection of some good lads basically, and top rugby players.
Yeah, and actually thinking about the recent results on the highlight show this week, David Flatman was saying that losing a lot of games grinds you down as a player. Is there a point where learning in defeat also gets to coaches, and having that message in every week, we're learning in defeat, does that get to coaches at all?
Well, I don't think you obviously do learn in defeat, that's without a doubt, but you don't enjoy it. So I mean, it's not you don't look forward to losing so that you learn. It's just that's the reality of it. As I say, we are a team that's growing, and every time we lose, there are lessons we learn. But ultimately, we want to win, and you don't want to keep losing forever and that sort of thing. You want to make sure you learn your lessons, you get stronger, you get tighter, and you don't make the same mistakes again. But we're still, there's loads of energy here. We're buzzing. I think as a coaching group, we're very excited because we see where we can get to. The team do, but yeah, we want to get there obviously, and we want to make steps in the right direction.
And in terms of learning, discipline as well has been the subject for the last few weeks, with Matt Banahan's red card last week, the third in fairly quick succession. Have you spoken to refs at all outside of games about the current interpretation of the rules?
Oh yeah, we do speak to officials, and obviously, Matt's one again. It's not a malicious one; it's a mistiming, and they are. I think the tricky thing is, I don't think the refs actually want to be sending people off, and they'll say that. It's more these are the guidelines that are put in place. So when there is an incident and someone's down and they replay it, 10, 15 times, then people's hand, you've got to play that hand. So I don't think the officials are enjoying that. I think we all think it's the right thing to do to make the game safer. No one wants headbangs in the game, but it's very grey. If you slow down a game of rugby at the moment, you could send 20 people off. So it's a very tricky spot, but I don't think the officials are to blame. I don't think the players are to blame. I think it's just something we've got to work through and get a bit more clarity on what's realistic and what we can get out of the game.